Will you be my dad for one day? The words hung in the air of the Iron Stallion clubhouse like a grenade with the pin pulled. Marcus, an 8-year-old boy with a black eye and dirt-stained clothes, stood in the doorway holding a hand-drawn invitation to Career Day at Roosevelt Elementary. Above him, the Hells Angels winged skull logo stared down from the wall. 12 Hells Angels members stopped mid-con conversation and stared. Bull, the club sergeant-at-arms, was the first to speak.
"Kid, how'd you even get in here?"
"I walked," Marcus said simply. 3 miles from school. "Where are your parents?" asked Diesel, the club president. Marcus's lip trembled. "My mom works 2 jobs. My real dad died when I was 4. And my stepdad," he touched his black eye. "He doesn't count." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Every man there knew what that gesture meant. "Why do you need a dad for one day?" Diesel asked, kneeling down to the boy's level. "Career Day is Friday," Marcus explained, his voice shaking. "Everyone's bringing their dads to talk about their jobs. But I can't bring my stepdad because," he paused, "because the bullies already know he's mean. They say I'm worthless, just like him. They say nobody would want to be my dad even for pretend." "Who are these bullies?" Bull demanded. "Trent Morrison and his friends. They push me down every day. They stole my lunch money 12 times. Yesterday they locked me in the bathroom during recess." Marcus wiped his eyes. "But if I had a dad show up, a really cool dad, maybe they'd leave me alone." Snake, the youngest member, laughed darkly. "Kid picked us because we look scary." "No," Marcus said seriously. "I picked you because my mom said bikers are loyal. She said if a biker is your friend, he's your friend forever." "I need a forever friend." The room went silent again. Diesel stood up slowly. "What's Career Day start time?" 9 to Friday morning. "We'll be there." Marcus's eyes went wide. "Really? Really? But you gotta promise me something." Diesel's voice went serious. "You tell me the truth about that black eye." "Your stepdad do that?" Marcus nodded slowly. "How often?" "Couple times a week. When mom's at her night job." The bikers exchanged looks that promised violence. These were men who'd done time. Men who'd lived hard lives, but even they had lines. They wouldn't cross. Hurting kids was the worst line of all. "We're gonna need more information," Bull said. "What's your stepdad's name?" "Derek Vance. He works at the auto parts store on 5th Street. Recognition flashed across several faces. "I know that guy," Wrench said. "He's got a gambling problem. Owes money all over town. That's why mom has to work so much." Marcus added, "to pay his debts." "Listen to me carefully," Diesel said. "We're going to help you, but not the way you might think. First rule, we don't become what we're fighting against. Understand?" Marcus nodded, though he didn't fully understand yet. Friday morning arrived. Marcus stood outside Roosevelt Elementary at 8:45 a.m., nervously checking his watch every 30 seconds. Other kids started arriving with their parents. Trent Morrison showed up with his dad, a tall man in an expensive suit who worked as a real estate developer. Trent saw Marcus standing alone and smirked. "Where's your dad, loser?" "Oh, wait." "You don't have one." Trent's friends laughed on cue. Marcus felt his eyes burning but refused to cry. He'd cried enough, then he heard it, the rumble. 20 motorcycles turned the corner in perfect formation, their engines creating a sound like rolling thunder. Parents stopped. Teachers came to the windows. The principal stepped outside. The bikes pulled into the parking lot in a V formation and shut off in perfect unison. 20 bikers dismounted, all wearing their club patches. They ranged from Bull, who was 6'4" and 300 lb, to Ghost, who had more tattoos than visible skin. Diesel walked straight to Marcus. "Sorry we're late, son. Traffic was rough." Marcus's face broke into the biggest smile anyone at that school had ever seen. Trent Morrison's jaw dropped. His father took a step back. "Mr. Diesel." The principal approached nervously. "I'm Principal Chen. We weren't expecting quite so many visitors." "My boy said it was Career Day." Diesel replied smoothly. "Thought we'd bring the whole crew. We run a motorcycle club and repair shop. Figured we could talk about mechanics, brotherhood, and community service." "Community service?" Principal Chen looked skeptical. "We do toy drives every Christmas, food drives for homeless shelters, and escort services for abused women who need safe transport to shelters." Diesel pulled out a business card that was surprisingly professional. "We're also licensed and insured, ma'am. Everything legal." The principal's expression softened slightly. "Well, I suppose that would be educational." The Career Day presentation was legendary, and bikers filled the gymnasium. They brought bikes inside for the kids to look at. They talked about engine repair, leather crafting, and the importance of loyalty. But the best part was when Bull told his story. "I grew up like some of you. he said, looking directly at Marcus. I had a stepdad who hurt me, made me feel small, made me think I was worthless. His voice carried across the silent gym. But I learned something important. That man was wrong. I wasn't worthless. None of you are worthless. And if anyone ever tells you different, if anyone ever hurts you, you need to tell someone. A teacher, a cop, a biker in a bar, someone who can help. Several kids were crying. Even some teachers were wiping their eyes. During lunch, Trent Morrison approached Marcus with his posse. Your dad is just a criminal pretending. Trent sneered. Before Marcus could respond, Trent's own father appeared. Son, let's go. But Dad now. The man's voice was sharp, angry. He grabbed Trent's arm hard enough to make the boy wubuse. Diesel saw it. So did 5 other bikers. Mr. Morrison, Diesel called out. Got a minute? I'm busy. Make time. Something in Diesel's voice made Trent's father stop. The 2 men walked to a quiet corner while the other bikers casually formed a perimeter. Nobody heard what was said, but Trent's father left that school looking pale and shaken. Trent looked confused, but also relieved. Later, Diesel would only say, We had a conversation about parenting techniques. He's going to work on improving his approach. What really happened was simpler. Diesel had recognized the signs. Trent wasn't a bully because he was bad. He was a bully because he was being abused at home and taking it out on weaker kids. The cycle was repeating. Your son's hurting people because someone's hurting him, Diesel had said quietly. Get help or we'll help you understand why that's unacceptable. Your choice. Trent's father chose help. Anonymous calls were made to social services that afternoon, but the real problem was still Marcus's stepdad. That night, Derek Vance came home drunk and angry. He'd heard about the bikers at Marcus's school. He didn't like being embarrassed. You think you're tough now? Derek grabbed Marcus by the shirt. Think some bikers are going to protect you? Marcus's mom tried to intervene. Derek pushed her into the wall. That's when the front door opened. 4 bikers walked in like they owned the place. Bullsnake, Wrench, and Ghost, how'd you get in my house? Derek demanded. Door was unlocked, Bull said. Safety hazard. You should be more careful. Derek reached for a baseball bat. 4 bikers didn't move. You're going to want to rethink that, Snake said calmly. Get out before I call the cops. Please do, Ghost said, pulling out his phone. I've got them on speed dial. Let's tell them about those bruises on your stepson and your wife, and maybe about that warrant for unpaid child support from your first marriage. Derek's face went white. We do our research. Bull stepped forward. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to pack a bag. You're going to leave. You're going to sign divorce papers. And you're going to disappear from these people's lives forever. And if I don't, the 4 bikers smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Then we'll explain to your bookie why you can't pay your gambling debts anymore. Word is you owe Big Tommy 15 grand. Big Tommy doesn't like people who can't pay. Derek's hand started shaking. You wouldn't try us. Derek packed his bags and left that night. The divorce papers were signed within a month. He violated the restraining order exactly once. He woke up the next morning in his car, which had somehow ended up in a junkyard 50 mi away. He never came back. Marcus's mom got a new job through a connection Bull had at a friend's construction company. Better pay, better hours, benefits. Trent Morrison stopped bullying people. His father entered therapy and anger management. The cycle was breaking. Career Day became an annual tradition. The bikers returned every year to talk about respect, loyalty, and standing up for people who couldn't stand up for themselves. Years later, Marcus stood in that same gymnasium, now 13 years old and captain of the wrestling team. He wasn't the scared little kid anymore. Diesel sat in the front row watching Marcus give a speech about overcoming adversity. Family isn't who shares your blood. Marcus said, Family is who shows up when you're scared and makes you feel safe. Family is who sees you at your worst and decides to stick around anyway. He looked at Diesel. My dad died when I was 4, but I got 20 new ones when I was 8. And they taught me the most important lesson. Real strength isn't about being the toughest or the scariest. Real strength is choosing to protect instead of destroy. The gymnasium erupted in applause. Diesel wiped his eyes and tried to pretend he wasn't crying. Bull punched his shoulder. You did good, old man. We all did, Diesel said. We all did. Sometimes the most broken people make the best healers because they remember what it felt like to hurt. And sometimes a little boy asking for one day of pretend becomes a lifetime of real family. Please click the subscribe button and support our channel. Your support helps us share more stories of hope and heroism.